Hello everybody, this is Let's Be Real Brad, and today I'm going to be talking about Charlie Kaufman's third feature film that is based on a 2016 novel, I'm Thinking of Ending Things. This movie is phenomenal. This is the best movie of the year. You guys know how much I love Tenet. I think this movie is just a little bit above that because after looking up the reviews and explanations of this movie while trying to figure it out myself and trying to piece it all together with everything that I had watched, I realized that I just love this movie so much. This movie is not very accessible. And the fact that they're throwing it on Netflix and the trailer makes it look like it's almost like this horror thriller, but it really isn't at all. It just is a psychological drama. I can't believe that a lot of people are going to be able to see this film, and a lot of people may not like it because it is very confusing. It is completely out there, and a lot of it is very metaphorical. Some things aren't the way that you are actually seeing them as, and that's what makes Charlie Kaufman such an amazing filmmaker and writer. Charlie Kaufman, if you don't know him, has done really great work, especially with Spike Jonze. And in his last film, Anomalisa, which was a stop-motion animated film that was truly a masterpiece of its own. Charlie Kaufman really likes to really talk about in his movies relationships and how people can lose themselves in a relationship, or they have these fantasies of regret and loss and how that affects somebody else and how the human existence has so many failures. And he presents that in such an amazing way that feels so lifelike. And Charlie Kaufman just proves and shows that he understands people. He understands how the human brain works and how we are as people in our natural habitats, and I think this movie captured that well. The acting is phenomenal. Jessie, Buckley, and Jesse Plemons have career best performances. I really hope they get nominated, as well as Toni, Collette. They are fantastic in this movie, and they just continue to prove that they are excellent performers, and they really give off such bizarre, awkward, and really amazing performances that always kept me invested in this movie. And it was such an amazing thing that Charlie Kaufman always gets, whether he's writing a film or he's directing the film. Cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. I think it is the best of the year. I really do hope that it gets actual Oscar nomination for it. I think the movie just looks slick, it looks perfect, it looks refined, and every scene just has something going on with its lenses, and it just makes for a more engaging and inviting film to the audience. I absolutely love the way this film is shot. So this movie does have, I believe, a 1:33:1 aspect ratio. I could be wrong. It's basically where the black bars are going to be on the sides instead of the bottom and the top. So you have a more refined picture. And the reason for this is that it's more having you focus on the certain characters. And a lot of movies that do have this really focus their shots on the individual characters and a lot of dialogue. And I think it worked perfectly well in this film. There's so many incredible and amazing shots that just always stick to my mind when I keep thinking about this movie. And it just created such a ginormous atmosphere that was so exciting to watch, and you wanted to see where the heck this movie was going to go next. Charlie Kaufman continues to prove he knows how to shoot a movie, and it is truly phenomenal. The music is also excellent as well. I think is appropriately used in so many of the scenes. It could be sometimes so depressing and heartwarming, or even add a little bit of a tension of things that are going on because this movie is so confusing. The score adds to so many scenes, and I think it is so good. And I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about it, or maybe just my lack of reading other people's reviews, but I really feel like right now it's kind of underrated, or maybe it's not. Who knows? Who cares? It's amazing. But the editing was perfect. It was refined, and it was amazing, and it just had so many great things that they use, and it actually added so many great moments in the film where the editing was used precisely. It would cut really quickly to certain moments, or there were scenes that you're seeing a bunch of these characters' faces and their emotions and the way the camera's panning. It created so many just awkward moments that filled my spine, and I just wanted to leave this scene. Especially the dinner scene is so beyond awkward, and it really just made me never want to experience anything like that ever again. So I guess the really big complaint I could see people getting is that this movie's very confusing. This movie isn't told in a standard narrative way, and if it was, it'd been really super boring. This movie challenges you to think. It challenges you to see this movie in a different light, and you really gotta use your brain, because if you don't, you're gonna think this movie's just random. You think you're gonna be random scenes, especially towards the second half, that are thrown in here that could be just over the top and silly, and you're like, why is this character talking to a talking pig? But when you watch this movie and you understand why there's a talking pig and why the tone and the consistency of this movie with this over-the-top metaphorical things that are going on, you will know exactly where that reference is there, and you will understand that it's very artistic, it's creative, it's really different and original, and I've never really seen anything like it. This movie does work so well, and when you put back all the events of this movie, I don't really see any plot holes, because the movie at its core is very simple, really depressing, and could be really sad all in one if you truly think about this movie. I really hope you guys give this movie a chance, because the movie has a lot to say. The writing is fantastic, and at times can feel very pretentious and feel like, wow, look at me, I know all these great things about philosophy and sociology and how the human brain works. But it really does add to the plot of this film, and when you break it down, those scenes are needed. So I do really enjoy that. My only personal complaint with this movie, I think this movie is too long. There are certain scenes, especially in the beginning, that I feel as though go way too long. I think they could have chopped this movie up from like 5 even to 10 minutes. Really, the car sequences and the characters talking, I understand why they're important, but I think there's some of the conversations that really could have been cut out, because I was paying attention and I didn't want them to do any trickery going on there, and so that's why I felt as though this movie could have been cut down. Other than that, this movie is pretty much perfect. Besides that, I felt as though I was so engaged in this film, and I just love the creativity and the original use of storytelling that Charlie Kaufman is so good at doing. If you really want to watch this film, please go watch it with an open mind and just be ready for an unreal experience that is going to challenge you and make you see differently about films. And I hope it encourages you to go back and rewatch the movie or write some notes, because that's what the best movies do, is they make you challenge you, they make you uncomfortable, and it makes you not like it because it's not the comfortable movie that you're used to watching. This is the best film of the year so far. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. If you guys really enjoyed this video, please like and share the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You guys have been the best. Liking the video, subscribing. You guys are awesome. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.